Our linebacker alignments. Okay, so we treat our Chuck as a linebacker, right? Just in terms of our, we're a small school. We don't have, it's not that we got 6, 7 coaches here every day on defense, that sort of thing. So our Chuck does go with the linebackers. If you are a larger staff, where you had a guy that could handle your nickels, that is something that he could do. We do feel just he has a little bit more linebacker traits, I guess, compared to safety. We ask our safeties to do, but we understand there's a lot of overlap, with both of those. You could have your Chuck go with your safeties. Okay. So I really think it all depends on your staff, how you guys are broken up, and also how you're going to utilize that. For our Sam and Will, those are our 2 prototype inside linebackers. These are our bigger, physical. We play them tighter to the line than most teams. Okay, so we put them both in 30 techs with their toes at 3.5 yards from the ball. Okay, you got some guys that try to cheat up with that a little bit. We got to back them up. Some guys that go too far back. So that's one of our focal points is getting them at 3.5 yards. All right, so our Sam goes to the read side. All right, he's the pass strength backer. Our Will, he takes a 30 tech to the away side. Okay, in a slide call, so Panther formation, that's our 2x2 10 personnel set. Or if we get your typical 3x2 empty formations, we're going to make a slide call. When we slide, our Sam aligns over the ball. We actually put him in a 10 technique opposite the running back. Okay, because that's usually where the flow is going to go to, and he ends up being that front side A gap player. All right, and our Will, he's going to slide out of the box, and he's going to apex number 2, and then the end man on the line of scrimmage. That is when he now becomes an overhang. All right, so now he is our alley or our pause player. Okay, if quads, which I have a quad slide on here as well too, because we've actually seen it a handful of times. We slide to the quad side, so our Sam actually is the one who slides out of the box. Our Will ends up sliding over the center. Okay, our Chuck, he goes to the right side. He's always a passing strength guy, so him and the penny are always paired up. He aligns with his toes 5 yards from the ball. If he has a number 2 receiver out there, which usually you do, he's going to align 2 yards inside of number 2. However, if number 2 is attached, we have like a pro set. You got a tight end at number 2. Then he's going to align 4 yards outside, of number 2. Okay, we can change that up, based on different coverages that we have. If we wanted to align him different, he's generally our alley and our pause guy. Again, different calls, could change that, but that is generally, his job. Mm-hmm. So our linebacker fits in Cyclone. All right, our 30 tech linebackers utilize fallback fits. Okay, so what that means, they're going to read the offensive guard in front of them. All right, that linebacker then is going to fall back into the gap that's opposite the flow of the guard. All right, so I'm in a 30 tech. That guard comes towards me. I am now falling into that A gap behind it. All right, if I'm in a 30 tech, that guard goes away from me and he goes down towards the nose. I am now running behind that guard and putting myself into the B gap. All right. So it's very similar to what our DNs are doing with those fallback fits and that rail technique, our backside A gap player for the nose. Our backers are also falling back. Okay. So a slide call, before I go to the next slide here, our slide calls will change that fit. So when we slide our linebackers and our Will walks out of the box and our Sam lines up in a 10 technique, our Sam backer is now going to be the front side A gap player. Okay, so he'll line that 10 opposite the tailback. That flow comes to him. He's got to make sure he stays over the top of that center. All right. So to look at like how our fallback fits work here, all right, on the different formations, you see the top left there, the Sam and the Will are keying those guards. Okay, that guard comes towards them. They are now going to fall back behind it. So, for example, here with this tailback away, generally our flow is going to come here. That Will would fall in there. Okay, our Sam is going to fall back off of this guard. All right, so I drew these up in 4 eyes the D-line and 4 eyes here because we will change our front at times. All right, but I wanted you to see here that our Sam would then fall back to the C gap here since we have our D end in a 4 eye. Okay, when we're in 4 eyes, we don't utilize rail techniques. All right, but the technique for our backer doesn't change. All right, the gap changes, but he's still falling back to the previous gap. This is where our overhangs now come into play, as this, with the back away, our free safety should now be triggering down to that C gap. So we should have this occupied, 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 occupied. This ball should have to shoot out to the front side. Inside zone play, you generally don't want to do that. Even outside zone, there aren't a lot of teams that really want to hit that thing all the way outside. It's usually that front side B gap, that we take away, with a 4 eye or running that rail technique. Okay, so those are our fits there. Really the same here for a top right, bottom left. It's still the same key for those guys. You can see bottom left now we get a 3x1. We could insert this rover into that gap as well. All right, so with that back to his side, the rover can come down, be our pause player. All right, we can do different things with that there, which I'll get into with our cover 4 in the next video. Okay, bottom right here, offense adds a fullback. That does not change anything for our interior guys. Okay, our Sam, our Will, those guys are still keying their guards. This rover here, as we talked about, when there's a fullback, he now matches that guy. So if we get a zone slice look here, this guy comes across, our rover is going to come across with that to occupy that gap. Our free safety will be late to the party. Okay, but these guys are just going to key their same fits. Okay, so this Will, let me clean this up. So this Will in a zone slice look, line coming to him, okay, he's going to fall back into that C gap, spill this slice. Our rover will run that down, and we'll also have this pause safety sitting out here because he's got tail back to him. Okay, we could also insert this corner into the fit, put the free over the top. All right, again, different calls for that, which we'll get into.